Heinz is proud to partner The Urbanist on Monocle Radio. Heinz is a leading global real estate investment manager. Heinz owns and operates $93 billion of assets across property types and on behalf of a diverse group of institutional and private wealth clients. Heinz' ambition? Well, in the words of its chairman and CEO Jeffrey Heinz, to be the best real estate investor, manager and partner in the world. Find out how Heinz is making that dream a reality. Head to heinz.com now. Heinz, a leader in real estate investing and management since 1957. The Central University of Venezuela was designed by the architect Carlos Raúl Villanueva and is a landmark piece of urban design in the heart of Caracas. Beyond just a piece of architectural wonder, these grounds have also been the center of demonstration and opposition throughout Venezuela's history. You're listening to Tall Stories, a Monocle production brought to you by the team behind The Urbanist. I'm Andrew Tuck. In this episode, Camille Rodríguez Montilla takes us to her alma mater to see why it means so much to its alumni and to the city as a whole.
The house that defeats the shadows, a symbol of resistance and values. The grounds are colorful, organized, and impressive. Back in 2000, the campus was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. Villanueva's work was ahead of time. He envisioned to blend architecture, urban planning, and art, and he involved important visual artists at the time to do so. Take the Aula Magna, the Grand Auditorium. Its famous floating acoustic panels, designed by artist Alexander Calder, aren't just functional, they're iconic. These clouds, as they're known, enhance sound and create a visually stunning experience. For generations of Venezuelans, graduating under those clouds is a shared dream. The campus includes a teaching hospital, Hospital Clínico Universitario. The striking building combines functionality with aesthetic appeal. The architect's design ensured that even practical spaces like the hospital contributed to the overall harmony of the campus. Everyone I've ever met who studied there says it proudly and called themselves UCEVistas, showing how embedded the school is with their identity. The campus is strategically built in the middle of the city, has its own subway station, and is an emblematic spot of the capital city.
We used to come to concerts here, and sometimes we came to ride our bikes. I think everybody in Caracas somehow is familiarized with the space.
That is Ander de Tejada, a proud UCEVista who teaches at the university 3 days a week. Just like me, he comes from a family of people who studied there and grew up hearing about what it meant. Studying at that university is a symbol of pride for Venezuelans in general, a point of honor.
At least it's the place that I love the most of the city. I think it's the most beautiful place in the city. It's full of history, and for example, I like literature. And most of the Venezuelan writers are from this university, and you can go to the school they attended. It's very nice. It's a nice experience.
And that is what has made the university the house that defeats the shadows, as it's known. Ander speaks in his class about the importance of the country's context to build a character when writing. It makes me think about how the UCV has always been a hub for decision-making, political discussions, and mostly a symbol of resistance. During the dictatorship of Marcos Pérez Jiménez from 1952 to 1958, the university was the center of political dissent against the authoritarian regime. While the government exerted control, censorship, and suppression of political freedoms, the university provided an intellectual space where critical ideas and opposition movements could thrive. Many student leaders and faculty members played pivotal roles in organizing protests and mobilizing against the regime's abuses. Students at the university were at the forefront of the opposition against Pérez Jiménez. The 1952 fraudulent elections and the regime's repressive policies galvanized student activism. The Student Federation of Venezuela became a key voice for democracy and human rights. Students organized protests, strikes, and clandestine activities, challenging the regime's grip on power. These movements were instrumental in uniting broader sectors of society against the dictatorship and in contributing to the eventual fall of Pérez Jiménez in 1958. While Pérez Jiménez's regime sought to protect an image of modernization through infrastructure projects, the UCV represented a broader vision of intellectual and artistic freedom that contrasted with the regime's authoritarianism. Given its role as a hub of dissent, the UCV was frequently targeted by the government. The regime's security forces, particularly the Seguridad Nacional, infiltrated the university, arrested student leaders, and cracked down on protests. Despite these measures, the university continued to be a focal point of resistance. In the years following the dictatorship, the university was celebrated as a bastion of democracy, intellectual freedom, and resistance. My friend Leti, also a proud UCVista, says that it's a scale representation of the country. On July 28th of 2024, the Venezuelan people went to the polls to vote in a presidential election that has, since then, been internationally called rigged and a fraud. The opposition managed to prove with paper trail that the government-led Electoral Council had altered the election's results to declare President Nicolás Maduro as winner.
Nicolás Maduro Moro, presidente reelecto de la República de Venezuela.
A day after I went to Anders' class, the police was surrounding the university, to which the students reply by hanging a banner in one of the main entries. They surround the campus because they fear education, it read. I agree with Ander. The historical context adds to any story. While reading a text to prove his point during class, we get a sudden reminder. The students burst out laughing. It's not that uncommon. It's still the Caribbean. Let's wait for it to leave, Ander says, chuckling. But could a university campus completely change your life, influence your decisions? In the past years, due to the country's economic and political crisis, over 1/3 of the population has migrated. I asked Ander if he thought about leaving the country.
Sometimes I think I'm here because of the university. I don't think it's true, but I like to think about it sometimes.
The university grounds are a testament to the power of vision and collaboration. It's a cultural landmark that embodies the ideals of education, art, and innovation. It's a place where students, artists, and scholars come together to shape the future while honoring the past. Even after the biggest crisis of Venezuela's recent history, it stands as a beacon of what architecture can achieve when it's guided by purpose and creativity. It's a reminder that buildings are more than bricks and mortar. They're vessels for ideas, emotions, and aspirations.
Tall Stories is a Monocle production from the team behind The Urbanist. This episode was written by Camille Rodríguez Montilla and produced and edited by David Stevens. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast to receive new episodes every week. I'm Andrew Tuck. Goodbye, and thank you for listening, City Lovers.